Alright, can you please state your name and a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Paul Cunningham Sr. and I grew up in Ohio, and I've lived in Mason since 1961, and belonged to the American Legion, and I was in the service from 1953 to 1956. I was in the United States Army in an ordnance outfit.
Alright, so why did you join the service, and what was your first choice, or did you get drafted?
Well, I joined the service because most of my uncles and my brothers had served in different wars. A lot of them served in the Second World War, and I joined because I guess that seemed like the right thing to do.
Where did you go to boot camp?
Fort Knox, Kentucky.
And what were your experiences in boot camp like?
Well, we went for, if I recall properly, we went for 8 weeks, and it was pretty good. I tell you the truth, I enjoyed it. They get on you pretty hard once in a while. Never volunteer for something. You'll be picking up cigarettes or doing KP or stuff like that.
After boot camp, where were you stationed?
I was sent to Germany. I was stationed in Mannheim to start out.
What were your assignments, your job assignments during the war?
Well, when they sent us over there, we arrived at a port called Bremerhaven, north of Germany, and arrived by troop ship, and they sent us down to Alsace-Lorraine. And then there, we went in, and there were people, men, women, they were assigned to assign people like myself that were coming in different places that they would go to where the services needed manpower. And what they had was a long set of tables, and there was a gentleman or a lady sitting behind the tables, and depending on your last initial to your name, depending on what line you got into. Mine being C, I got into the C line, so I'm waiting there, and guys are getting, most of them were men, we're getting assigned to, you're in the infantry, we're going to send you out here, we're going to send you there, and you're going to be in the field. So I got up there, and the guy asked me my MO, modus operandum, and I says, well, I was in the infantry, trained for it. He had his head down. He says, oh, well, let me see. And he looked up, and he says, why? He says, Paul, he says, we went to high school together over at Hamilton High. And I said, yeah? I says, how you doing? He says, you really want to be out in the field in the infantry? And I says, well, rather not. And he says, well, what'd you like to do? And I was sitting there, or standing there thinking, and I'm thinking, well, all of a sudden he says, you played basketball for Big Blue, which was the name of Hamilton High's basketball team. And we were a fairly good basketball team. And he said, would you like to play basketball? And I says, that sounds good to me. See, I got in between the Korean War and the Vietnam War. So there wasn't any fighting going on, and we were more of an occupation group.
Yeah, you were just kind of...
So that's what made it possible for that to happen. And I said, yeah, I'd like to play basketball. So he says, well, I'm going to send you to Mannheim. There's a colonel out there that wants basketball players. And I says, okay. So that really put me in what they call an ordnance outfit. And what ordnance did was to provide supplies, etc., to the different army outfits that were in Europe. What they would do, they would send requests into the ordnance people, and if they needed trucks, jeeps, any kind of material, it would come through us, we'd process it, and then, they'd that ordnance then would get delivered to those Army people.
So you're the guy that like everybody was hoping to see at the end of the day with their new food and stuff?
Well, we never seen any of it. It
Yeah.
actually got shipped to different
Oh.
companies and that around Europe. Now, I don't know all the things that they ordered, but I assume it was about everything they may have needed. And they had put in a request that, hey, we need 6 Jeeps, or we need clothing, or what kind of stuff they needed, and that's what we did. So it was really an office job when you get right down to it.
Ah.
So we'd, were assigned to a place that had been an Air Force base for the Luftwaffe. That was the German Air Force during the war, and was really fortunate because it was like a big complex, and I couldn't really say it was like hotels, but it almost was like that. We went there and we got assigned to a particular group in that ordnance outfit, and we went in, and we didn't have barracks, we didn't have tents, we lived in this building. Beautiful rooms. The rooms were probably twice the size of this room we're in here. And we'd have 4 guys in it.
4 guys for a room double this size. That's pretty good.
And hardwood floors, beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Looking out windows. And so we lived in those. We had places for our clothes, not foot lockers and stuff. And it's where the Air Force pilots lived during the war.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty nice. We had it all right. We were close to Russia. We were on the east side of the Rhine River, and that's when the Cold War was going on. And the military thought that, well, if the Russians started acting up, the ordnance outfit's going to be one of the first places they're going to hit, because we ordered all the material
Yeah, you were
that kept the services going over there. So they up and moved us out of Germany to France, to Orleans, France. Joan of Arc was from there. They had a big statue of her horse in town. Anyway, we were about 80 miles below Paris. And from, living at like the Taj Mahal, we were out in the middle of nowhere in a field, and the whole company went.